I just picked up this trailer, and when I hooked up, none of the lights would work. And sure enough, two of the lights out of this harness broke off. And you can see it's green in there. Whenever you see green, that means the copper wire has corroded. This has been hanging under here for at least 10 years. So what I'm going to do is just clip this off and put in a new plug. I got a used one I took off a car somewhere in the shop. This harness has a little electrical box that connects into the factory wiring harness right here. So a universal one won't work. That looks like it needs to be cleaned. Jammed full of dirt or something in there. So we'll clean that as well. This little utility trailer is pretty well made. The guy used it for a mower, I think. It's a short track. It's a 5x8. I plan on using it for motorcycles. But one thing I like about this is it's got sort of this A frame, so it's really sturdy, and you can see how well it's made. The previous trailers I've had were those cheap carry-on trailers from Tractor Supply, where they have one beam that goes out here, and it's not even welded, it's bolted in, and it's not very sturdy. I towed this thing about 50 miles. That's how far away it was, and so far so good. Short Track is a pretty good brand. I've got a Short Track car trailer that I've had for a few years. It needs a pressure wash. But this has been a very good trailer. I upgraded to Dextar wheels. They're made in America, and E-rated tires for the 10-lug axle. And so far, knock on wood, haven't had any issues. I'm gonna have to pull off this side here because I need to strap down a motorcycle there. It's a 2018 model, so it's got some use, but is pretty good condition overall. Let's get this plug fixed so I can safely and legally tow this thing. Well, after messing with this, I decided just to get one of these. Bought it at O'Reilly for like $8, so we'll just plug that. We'll cut this and wire it in there. I'm over here in the shade because we're on the edge of some sort of heat dome or something, and it's like 100 degrees. But we're going to lose the shade soon, so I've said it in a previous video. These wire strippers are really handy. As far as I know, there's only one company that has a patent on this design, so there's no need to overpay for these. Just get the cheapest ones, and at the time it was this Capri. And copper doesn't look very good. I think I'm going to cut it back further. If the copper's green, it's corroded. This isn't too bad, it's a little dark. Let's cut it up further. Of course, this car is disgusting because it's completely covered in fluid film, which I'm going to do to the new plug. You can see how corroded that is. Yeah, you see how bright that is? Much better wire. You can see this first cut that I made, how kind of dark brown that is compared to these, how bright those are. That's what you want. This is still corroded. And you can see the plug, how corroded that gets. These butt connectors with heat shrink is a great way to do this wiring. I'll do heat shrink on each one of these and then a larger one over top. These are the channel lock 909, made in USA. Really nice pliers for this job. You can see on here, non and insu, that's insulated butt connectors. These are non-insulated butt connectors. These are cheap off Amazon. Just some random 22 to 16 gauge, 100 pieces. I don't remember what this cost, but it wasn't much. And this comes a couple of feet of wiring. We don't need that much, so we just cut it off right there. We'll just zip tie it up if it's too much. Also, this wiring, you can see it's labeled. It's all universal. The 4-pin stuff is pretty much all the same. So the white goes to the white, green, green, and so on. Before I forget, I want to put this on. Nothing's worse than getting this all connected and forgetting this. It's got to go on first. Do one big one for all of it, and then 4 individual small ones. This does not have a cap. I just realized. I've got one inside. I'm going to fill this up with fluid film. Hard to see. This one's not working. We might have a background. It's not very bright. I think that's a background somewhere. Let's turn on the headlights. Those work. You can tell that's on. Maybe it is the wiring. License plate light's not working. I had to call quits yesterday because I could not find half the stuff that I was looking for. These jumper leads, I couldn't find. I had 0 alligator clips. So I had to go to Harbor Freight, pick up a couple things so we can finish testing this. I initially thought the left light was not working, so it could be a background, but it's just the turn signal. The actual light works itself when you turn the headlights on. So that is probably the yellow wire that's left turn signal. So testing it, basically what you do, get some little leads like this, put it on a battery or a jump pack in this case. You stick the black in the ground, which is white, just stick it in there, and then put the red jumper lead on each one of these, and that'll test each unit. A simple way to see if it's the tow vehicle wiring is to get one of these little testers. This was $4 or $5 at Harbor Freight. You plug it in and it lights up if it works. Let's test the trailer first. That's working. Now this is not yellow, it's brown and yellow, so that should be the left light. That is working. That is running lights. And those work. So it is not a problem with the trailer. It is a problem with the truck. So it'll be pretty obvious that it's going to be the left one. The question is, or the yellow one for the left light. The question is it the repair we did or further on up in the harness? I say it's further on up in the harness. I've got the hazards on. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Only the right one's flashing, not the left. So that means somewhere there's a break in this wiring. So this harness comes down into this control box. Left is still not working. It's further up, either in this box or further up, which goes up into here, behind this light. We have to remove this next. Got the light out. It's hard to see. There's a plug down there that I have to unplug, and then it'll come down from the bottom. I was able to get this plug up from the top, but as I was trying to unclip it, all the wires pulled out. However, you probably can't see, there's some corrosion on that ground right there. I don't know if that's the cause or not. Anytime you see green on a copper wire, that's corrosion. All right, this is what I've got going on. This is the original plug that goes into the harness of the car, the Land Rover. I'm going to try and clean up some of that corrosion. And this is what was on there. This was plugged into that plug and these pulled out. And you can see there's a little corrosion on there as well. I don't know if that's going to be an issue. I do have this. This is that plug. I chopped it off the harness from that parts car there. This is that junk harness that I pulled off some cars sometime in the past. This is where it plugs in to the body, and it's got this little box. I don't know what that is. And then this is just one of those Hopkins connectors. These, for some reason, are cut off of this. This doesn't appear to have as much corrosion as the one that was on there, so I'm going to try this one. I'm going to plug this into the car. I'm just going to twist these wires together here, and then we're going to test it, although there's no plug on the end. So I'm going to strip those out and just jam them in that little connector. I've got this plugged in, I've got these twisted together, and I got these jammed in there. So let's turn the hazards on and see if this lights up. There we go, that works. Alright, here's the moment of truth. I got everything kind of loosely in here. Now let's hit the hazards. Look at that. Perfect. Well, now all I have to do is get this stuff tucked back up in there, put some more loom on it, zip tie it up, make it nice and clean so it lasts. Actually, I take that back. There's one more thing I got to do. You can see how greasy this stuff is. Kind of annoying when you're working on the car, but it's better than corroding and everything breaking. Alright, it's all cleaned up, everything is back together, and everything works. Now you may be asking yourself, why would I spend that much time getting junk harnesses on this thing when I could just buy a normal one from Atlantic British or someplace like that? Well, I'm trying to pick up a motorcycle later today, and you cannot find hardly any parts for these locally, at least not where I am. You have to special order it, and I don't want to wait. Then you may ask yourself, well, fair enough, but why don't you just take this truck? This truck is better at towing in every measurable way, even a small trailer like this. Well, technically, this is for business use, and I try not to use it unless it's actually for business use. And I bought this car 15 years ago for $800. The dealership told the previous owner that the motor was bad and it needed a new motor. So that's why I bought this, to put a motor in it, try and sell it and make a small profit. But I ended up fixing it. It was air in the coolant line and a bad plug wire, and that was at about 100,000 miles, and I'm now at 223 on the original motor, original everything. So now it's sort of a thing that I have, is to try and see how many miles I can get out of this thing on the original motor. So I prefer to put the miles on this, plus I like driving it. This little 5x8 trailer with the motorcycle on it. It's an older BMW, so it probably weighs 600-700 pounds. It tows it okay. You can definitely tell that it's back there. I need a spare tire for it. But these are much better than those little 5x8 Tractor Supply trailers. These have 15-inch wheels. The others have 13, I think. And these have greasable axles. This is a 3,500-pound axle, which is quite a lot for this. You can see this is all tube steeling. There's just angle iron on the other cheap stuff. It's got a deck, wood deck. It's just mesh on the other stuff. This has all LED lighting. It's got real solid pins. The ramp, you can see, is way stronger. But this is all tubular. Much better built. And the main thing, if you're looking at utility trailers, this is what you look for. It's got an A frame and it's welded. Much stronger. Those little ones only have one beam out here and it's bolted in. Some of the bigger ones do have that. They're normally 6x12, but if you want a smaller one, that's sort of what you're left with. All right, that wasn't too bad of a job. Let's see if we can get this bike.